You got a 401k? Good evening, America, and welcome back to another episode of Silver Dad Knows. Remember, always live with no edits. If this is your first time here, hit that subscribe button now, as you're going to like what I'm about to say. So, just to begin this evening, I'm presenting to you right here, folks, super unique piece. Very attractive piece. Very political and patriotic piece. Right here, we're looking at the Lincoln Round. This Lincoln wheat cent silver round produced by the Golden State Mint honors the legacy of Abraham Lincoln, who was the 16th U.S. president. Right here, the averse features Lincoln's side profile, organically designed by Victor D. Brenner, whose initials VDB are subtly placed on the reverse between two wheat stalks. VDB, and of course, wheat stalks. This round was minted in a limited quantities to celebrate the 100th anniversary of Lincoln's birth, making it a cherished collectible. With the design rooted in history and a composition of 0.999 fine silver, it appeals to both collectors and investors. Currently, these rounds are priced as low as $52 to $53, often with free shipping, offering a blend of historical value and investment potential. Perfect for those appreciating classic American coinage. This silver round serves as a tribute to one of the nation's greatest leaders while providing a tangible store of value. But great piece right here. You know, I always mention Perth Mint, I mentioned the Intaglio Mint, I mentioned the Scottsdale Mint. Do not sleep on the Golden State Mint. It's another mint that actually does great work, and they produce some very handsome pieces, important pieces like this one, you know, looking back and honoring Abraham Lincoln. Golden State Mint. And before we go any further, I want to give a quick shout out. This is to my always loyal subscriber. This is Robert Jones. Just how the snot goblin heckfire can 500 ounces of silver make me richer than 90% of Americans? 500 times 50 is $25,000 in value. You cannot retire on that. And probably 75% of Americans have an IRA with more than $25,000. Okay, so two things right here I'm going to answer. I'm going to answer the first question. How do you get richer than 90% of Americans with 500 ounces of silver? Remember, silver right now is still hovering around $50. But this is seeing silver when it's hovering $150, $200 plus. At those prices, then multiply 500 times 200, 250, 300. It's a lot more than $25,000 in value. And yes, that will absolutely make you richer than 90% of Americans. And to finish this off, Mr. Robert Jones, when you said right here, probably 75% of Americans have an IRA with more than $25,000. Sir, I assure you, if 75% of Americans had an IRA with more than $25,000, those people would be grabbing that money right now, taking the penalties, and spending it, because 75% of Americans are certainly living paycheck to paycheck. And if you have $25,000 in your IRA, which I know 75% of Americans absolutely do not, then you're not living paycheck to paycheck. But again, when people are living paycheck to paycheck, they can't afford their mortgages, they can't afford their car notes, they can't afford to feed their families, they can't afford simple medical bills. Yes, it's very fair to assume that 75% of Americans do not have an IRA with more than $25,000. Not even close. 75% of Americans, they're not doing too swell. And half of Americans are, I'm going to bet money, they are not doing swell financially. These people don't have homes. They don't have even a $10,000 net worth of liquid money. And you know, by no means I'm not exaggerating, because we think of our friends, we think of our family, we think of our colleagues. Sure, yeah, we might be sitting on some dough, but we know for a fact that our friends aren't, a lot of our family members aren't, a lot of our colleagues aren't, even if they're making good money. because people are not financially literate. It is not in our nature to be financially literate, unfortunately. If it was, most people would have money, and the reality is most people do not have money. This is not just a Western problem. This is a global problem, and quite frankly, I believe it always has been. That's why you have a few people with the money. You have most people with no money since the beginning of time. And that's why this episode is so important, folks, because silver's journey to $300 by 2030, for you to think that sounds bold, the foundation for such a move is already being built right in front of us. Economic instability, government debt explosions, and a shift toward hard assets are converging to create this perfect storm. Fiat currencies across the globe are losing purchasing power, and every time the dollar weakens, real money, like silver, rises from the ashes. By 2030, this dynamic could push silver to valuations most people today would call impossible. And I would tell you now, most of those people who would have said it's impossible, now they're looking at their numbers and the charts, and they're like, no, it's actually very, very possible for it to reach $300 by 2030. One of the biggest drivers of silver's price explosion will be inflation and currency devaluation. The U.S. debt is soaring past $35 trillion. To my understanding, I thought we had already surpassed $40 trillion, but they keep moving money around here and there. Of course, interest rates alone are spiraling out of control. When governments can't pay back what they owe, they print. That means more dollars chasing the same limited number of silver ounces. Come on, make common sense common again, right? Historically, every wave of monetary debasement has led to a major rally in precious metals, and this next one could be the largest yet. It's proving to be already. Industrial demand is another massive factor. Silver is not only a monetary metal, it's also a critical industrial one. From solar panels and electric vehicles to advanced medical and military technologies, silver's usage is skyrocketing. The green energy transition is creating a silver shortage that mining simply can't keep up with. While the world debates renewables, the demand for silver multiplies. At the same time, supply is drying up. Global silver production has been declining in recent years as new discoveries become rarer and mining costs climb. Many silver mines are byproducts of other metals like lead and zinc, meaning they can't easily ramp up production when prices rise. This tightness in supply, coupled with surging demand, is a setup for an explosive wave. And there's no doubt about that. Investor psychology is already playing a massive role. When people lose trust in banks and paper assets, as they have, they rush to tangible stores of value, as they are. Silver's affordability compared to gold makes it the go-to choice for the remaining middle class. As fear grips the markets, retail investors will flood in, pushing silver's price to levels unseen in modern history. And where we're currently seeing the price of silver is just the beginning. It is just the beginning of what's going to happen. When I say it's going to 5 to 10 times from here forward, it really is an understatement. It could 20 to 30 times more than where it's at. A financial reset or digital currency rollout could act as the ultimate catalyst. As governments introduce central bank digital currencies, as we know them as CBDCs, many will flee to silver for privacy and protection. Physical metal will become the lifeboat in a digitized financial sea. By 2030, $300 silver will not look crazy. It will look inevitable. The perfect storm of inflation, industrial use, supply shortages, and investor panic, it's already brewing. Those who act before the crowd will be the ones telling the story when the world finally wakes up to what silver is truly worth. And we're still not there, folks. Not even close. $300 silver by 2030 isn't speculation. It is math. It is history. It is reality converging on a finite resource in an infinite money world. But folks, as always, thank you so much for joining us for another evening, another episode of Silver Dad Knows. God bless you, God bless your household, and God bless America.